In this video, we'll hike the Cockaponset and Pattaconk trails in Connecticut's Cockaponset State Forest. Join me as we cross many brooks and streams, walk along the shores of the Pattaconk Reservoir, visit an historical site, and hike to the top of a ridge. Plan for the day is to hike north from Connecticut Route 148 to Old Country Road. Here we'll turn around and retrace our steps to the junction with the North Pattaconk Trail. We'll follow the North Pattaconk Trail south along the beautiful Pattaconk Reservoir until we cross the Cockaponset Trail. We'll follow the South Pattaconk Trail south back to the Cockaponset Trail. From here it's only a short 1/10 of a mile to Route 148 where we started. According to the State Forest website, Cockaponset is named after an Indian chief. It's the second largest state forest in Connecticut, encompassing over 17,000 acres. Most of today's hike will be in Chester, with a small portion in Haddam. The trail starts right off busy Route 148. There's parking for maybe half a dozen cars. This parking is also used by mountain bikers, so it can get filled up pretty quickly. Well, that was a pretty cool boardwalk, but I really have to caution you, it is slick. I know it's been wet lately, but I suspect it's slick most of the time. The Cockaponset intersects and joins the Yellow Trail here. Cockaponset State Forest has designated the Cockaponset and Pattaconk trails for foot travel only. However, there are many other trails which allow additional activities such as mountain biking and horseback riding. Always interested in the history of the places where I hike, I found a little bit of information on this area. The name Pattaconk comes from a Native American language meaning round or wigwam-shaped hill. The Cockaponset name may have evolved from Ponset or Punset, the Wangunk Indian word meaning the boundary is at the falls or at the falls. That's pretty interesting. I wonder what caused it to grow like that. Oh. You see those squirrels come out of that tree? That's where all the noise was coming from. And they scampered up to the top. I suspect they were just stashing some nuts in that tree over there, but that was pretty interesting. I never saw that before. Behind me is a large parking area that's located within Cockaponset State Forest. It's a great place to park if you can't park at Route 148. It reminds me, 20 years ago, I did my first mountain bike race here at Cockaponset State Forest, and when we came to the Blue Trail, we actually were required to get off our bikes and walk them. As we pass by the parking lots here, we're getting our first view of Pattaconk Reservoir. On the way back, we'll be taking the Pattaconk Trail, which actually follows the shore of the reservoir for quite a distance. We reached the intersection of the North and South Pattaconk Trail. That's the Blue-Red Trail. We'll be taking on our way back, but for now we're going to stay on the Cockaponset Trail. According to the AllTrails profile, we are now about to embark on the steepest part of the hike today. Just ahead is the high point of today's hike. It's a wooded but rocky summit that's somewhere between 450 and 480 feet in elevation. Starting to head down the back side of the ridge, and through the trees we're starting to see the Pattaconk Reservoir again. Alright, we have reached a major intersection here. This bridge is a junction of the blue-white, the blue, the yellow, and just before the bridge over here on the left is the white trail. So major intersection. I don't know what brook this is. I'm guessing it's the Pattaconk, but I couldn't tell from the map. There were several significant water crossings on this trip that were unnamed. Most of the trail junctions here at Cockaponset State Forest have these kiosks, which can show you where you're at. Right now we've just come around that ridge on the Blue Trail, and we're at the junction of Blue-Red Trail. We're going to continue on up to Old County Road before heading all the way back to 148 down here. Behind me is a short trail to the remains of a collier's hut. Colliers made charcoal out in the woods. There's an interesting plaque down there with a great deal of information. It's just a very short hike, and you can see the old chimney remains. I just saw a couple of hunters and a dog on an adjacent ridge. We're in bright orange, thankfully. As am I. I did hear some shots earlier. Normally the hunters are out in the dawn or the dusk hours. You won't typically find them out in the middle of the day. Behind us is a placard describing a 20-foot round depression in the ground behind the placard there that was once a charcoal mound that some of the colliers would have done. So they built a 20-foot mound. Inside of it's 30-35 cords of wood. They cover it with dirt. They light it on fire. That keeps the oxygen low and allows the wood to burn out all the water. Produces a very light carbon product that they can ship and use in factories like iron smelting and stuff like that they used in the 1700s, maybe even as much as into the early 1900s. You can definitely see the circle here, the ditch around the mound. And looking back here, I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but it's very clear to me. All right, we've reached Old County Road, and it looks like there's ample parking here, but there's an official parking lot just down the ways. This is going to be the end of our northern trek. We're going to head back, but don't go away. I plan to cover some new trails at Pattaconk on the way down, including along the reservoir. 1 mile later, we are now on the north section of the Pattaconk Trail, and we're going to be following that south from here. So we're back at the intersection of all the trails at the bridge. Behind me is the north end of the Pattaconk Reservoir. Water flows into the north end and out the south end. There's a big dam on the south end. And the Pattaconk actually flows into the Connecticut River, but from Route 9 up here I saw numerous small dams. There must have been a lot of mills along the Pattaconk. we've returned to the intersection of the North Pattaconk, the South Pattaconk, and the Cockaponset trails. We were here earlier. We're going to continue now on the South Pattaconk. As we climb along the ridge, we'll get up to about 475 feet at our highest point of elevation on today's hike. We're on top of the ridge here at about 450 feet in elevation. We're looking down into the swamp. I think we're talking about a 35 to 40 foot cliff right here, judging from the topographical map. Looks like we got a bit of a steep downhill here. Alright, we made it down from that cliff. A little steep there. We're coming across what looks like a cart road. It's blazed as white, but we're going to continue straight on the blue-red trail. So just a summary of today's trails. We went out on the Cockaponset Trail, and that trail had an amazing amount of water river crossings. I haven't seen that many in a while. And then it had the historic sites of the charcoal kiln and the Collier's hut remains. Definitely worth doing. But I thought the blue-red Pattaconk Trail was a little bit more interesting. It had more elevation gain. The cliffs were really cool, as well as the water views along the Pattaconk Reservoir were awesome. So you can't lose either way. And if you make a out and back like I did, combining both trails, you're going to be a winner all around. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Hope to see you out here in another video. Meantime, don't forget to subscribe so that you won't miss part 2 of the Cockaponset Trail.